because I would because I did say that we wanted to post our recordings of these meetings, and I promptly forgot to record this meeting. So my apologies. But we do have, and I don't know if that'd be something that would be allowed, but we could also, I can basically pay a shared. I have an unpublished YouTube link where we could be putting some of these meetings on for people to access and look at. I don't know what City of Burlington has a policy on putting these meetings out. I don't know if it's something that needs. I mean, I know you have local access channels that sometimes show these. I don't know if there's anything about it, but it would be good to have these videos available to people who may want it. Um, so I don't know, but I'm just thinking about ways that we can kind of expand what we have and how we could do this. This provides a little bit of history, and we're in a group. It doesn't really show who's on the group, which I think would be really helpful to do in establishing some stuff like that. And I know that we had also discussed having like a fax links, either it'll be to our committee or I don't know on the City of Burlington webpage where we can work on some items. And I'm just trying to figure out the steps that we could take to make this work. And we could discuss that. I did compare. So this is what the Barry ADA committee has. So this is what they do. What some of the colleagues have. So they have the agenda. They have the agenda and the minutes posted for each one. I think they're a little like us, but they also have the committee members on the side here. So it'd be nice if we had something like this that provide a little bit more detail about who we are, to kind of flesh out and show the committee, and also kind of working on some of these steps that we could do. So regarding posting the minutes, Bridget, is that something you guys are able to do, or Ethan able to do? Is that something we're able to post those up?
Yes, we can post those minutes. And I went in, I think on Friday, and had the agenda and minutes posted. Yep. It looks like there's the archive of former minutes, but yes, since we're the department taking the minutes, we can definitely post them.
Okay. I can send a recap of minutes if we need them. I know there was a little bit of a gap, but we did provide minutes, I think, going back to the beginning of this year. We did take that break at in November, December, and early January. But then we convened. But we do have minutes going back, and I can certainly pass all of them along to you and Ethan to have them uploaded on there, so we can make that more known. In terms of getting the members of this committee on there, I'm guessing is that going to be a legislative process involved? Is the governor going to need to appoint us? It says working group, so I don't know what that entails. Any thoughts on that? Or in the past, I've been appointed. Way back when they appointed like 4 of us. I think I was at like a 4-year term, which expired like 3 years ago. So I'm not really sure if that needs to be done, if we need to have our contact information on there. I'm up for suggestions on how to proceed with that.
Yeah, my understanding is that for public commissions and boards that folks are appointed to those. But where it seems like this has been in limbo, I'm not quite sure what the process would be. Okay. Vanessa, do you have an idea? No? Okay. I'm guessing Catherine Shad would be the person to ask.
Okay. So she's and this seems to happen every time. It seems like we get appointed for somebody, we go for a little while, and then it never, I think when we initially came up this board, the ambition was to have different representatives for different area appointed to the board. I may have laid this out in the memo, but I just want to make sure that at the very least they have a point of contact for somebody to reach out that, and whether that's me, I do also, think we just want to have some people on there, as well as upcoming meeting times, just so people can go on that website and access that information. I will share with you, I did get an email a while back. Actually, it was a phone call for somebody called me, um, and it wasn't on a advisory committee um, regard. It was somebody just asking, does Burlington have an ADA coordinator? And, and I kind of went, no. And he's like, you should. And I'm like, yes, I know. We're working on that. So I know we laid that out in the memo, but I also really do think one of the purposes of this committee is to get an ADA coordinator established. And I keep doing that. And that was in the memo to the mayor's office. But I think when we have point in contact, because this one person was basically saying, I've run into some accessibility issues with Burlington, but there's really no place to me to go to. I don't. Who do I talk to about that? And like I said, well, you could talk to. I did mention the committee, and we did work out. It ends up he just needed to know some information, so I gave it to him. But it was a pretty glaring issue that he was looking for to find an accessible route in Burlington, and there was nobody to really go to to ask those questions. So um,
He
yeah,
did raise some other additional concerns where I think the city, there's an opportunity there, particularly in regard to Department of Public Works and thinking about how we are maintaining our streets, the grade of our sidewalks and things like that. So I think, part of what he was bringing to the forefront has been an ongoing conversation, it sounds like, from what I understand, for several years. And I think that, like I said, from an opportunity perspective, could there be more conversation internally about how those kinds of requests are tended to and what expectations there are around timing? I would love if we had a DPW representative with our team.
yeah, we did. Yeah, so we do need another one of that. I mean, what's the name who left, who retired, was that representative. So we do need somebody from DPW on here. And I also mentioned to this individual the See Click Fix website, the phone app where you can, if he sees something that you like, you take a picture and send it in. I've never used it myself. I hear in a perfect world, you would send that in and they would click on it and they would see the issue and it would go into a file and be addressed. I'm guessing just like everything else, I don't know how quickly it'd be addressed, but that was in a perfect world that I saw. I used it. I actually used it when it first came out several years ago about a curb ramp that got a big kind of pit that got into it. So I couldn't. It was actually off of Pine. It was actually at on Kilburn Street and Pine, and I couldn't go around it. So I took a picture, and they did fill it in. It only took 4 years, but they they filled it in. But it was something that I advised him on if he's thinking about accessible. So. Yeah, I don't even know if it was the same person, but they were talking. I told them about SQL Fix as well, and able to work it out. But that is a concern. So I'm just trying to think about things that we can address, we can work on right now. And it seems to be at least getting the minutes up, getting the upcoming meetings up to push people on it, to maybe get more people to at least participate in the meetings or to participate or do the meetings is getting out. I don't know if there'd be a way to, I mean, I guess it's on the city calendar, correct, to kind of advertise upcoming meetings. I don't know if there's a way we can push that to have people come. I'm just trying to think of a way that we can get more traffic into these meetings. Um, I, yeah, Bridget, let's do this. Bridget, then Laura.
I just wanted to clarify, do you mean like members of the public who might be interested in what you all are speaking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think what we should be doing is warning these meetings to be put on the public government calendars, so that if people are looking for things, they can see it. And then possibly we could use Front Porch Forum to let folks know that these meetings are happening. And if necessary, we could use the CETO social media as well.
Okay, that would be great. I do have, Laura, did you have a suggestion as well?
Yeah, I did. I'm just wondering, so in the city of Burlington, do they do, if there is a person who resides in Burlington, can they actually sign up for weekly emails? I was just wondering if we could have like an email list and send it out if for people who are interested in joining or attending the meeting. Does Burlington send out emails?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I think we need to get as many people involved in this, particularly people who live here. I know from a BCIL standpoint, I've certainly told people about the meetings. BCIL has we have a Burlington Bunch Page Forum account, which I have not been sending updates about the meeting. I used to. It has a very limited breadth. It's only a couple. I think if we have people who want to attend the meetings regularly, I mean, I can certainly add them onto it, but I think members of the public would just need to access the calendar and just find it to attend. If you're talking about meetings, I think a lot of that would just be pushing after it. We also have a Facebook page, the Accessibility Committee. I don't know who runs it, but they do a great job sending out little cool tidbits about information about accessibility in the news. If anybody's on Facebook, just look at Burlington Accessibility Committee. I actually don't know who runs it. It's something I should probably look up on, but we could also push that through Facebook about upcoming meetings and stuff. Um, so that those are some things that we could do.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know about the Facebook page, so I guess that's news to me.
Yeah, I've been meaning to hold on here. Let me I'll share this bad boy with you guys. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I just, I mean, maybe it's worth adding like just a little message, like oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Oh, wow, interesting. So I have not seen that.
I do think it's something I need to connect with. I don't know who. Maybe I can send a Facebook message to. But like this right here, this is cool. It's kind of like I didn't even know about this. Um, who sends it? And maybe we connect with them about upcoming meeting times. I hardly go on Facebook at all anymore, and I was just actually going on, and I realized that. But it's so it has a lot of stuff, but it's kind of disconnected from what we do. So I do think, you know, I should reach out to who does it, and I'm guessing it's somebody from Parks and Rec. I believe Emma, who used to work for Parks and Rec, knew who did that, and I need to. Maybe I'll send a Facebook message from that, or to Sophie at Parks and Rec, and so I say, do you know who is running about this? It would be great if we could, post upcoming meeting times and some upcoming items about that through it. Like I said, it has a whopping 215 subscribers, but it will help get the word out a little bit more about the committee and what we're looking for.
Yeah, so this, it doesn't show, I was looking at the Facebook page and it doesn't actually show who the admin person is. So it's not, the name is not there. So I don't know who runs it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to find out and at least collaborate with them. I'm assuming it's somebody who works for Parks and Rec and talked about upcoming event. And I know that Emma did it for a while and then it's been handed off to someone. The information is cool. It's a lot of a lot of statewide and national stuff. Would be great if we could actually put up information regarding the committee itself. You know, I think that would be really good that we could do.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so so what I'm hearing at the end, I'm just trying to think of, you know, we're kind of waiting again in limbo about this budget from the mayor's office in the CEDO. I'm going to resend the memo and asking for a reply on it, you know, saying we're now at the last week of June and we want to have some kind of approval of whether going forward in July. We can send training materials that we have to the CEDU folks, Vanessa, Bridget, and Ethan. And Bridget or Ethan can update the agenda items for the meetings. And could we have on the website, Bridget, I don't know if there's privacy issues when we talk about upcoming meetings. Would that include the link? Would that include the Zoom link? I almost started to think if people want to attend the meeting, we should probably include that Zoom link. I also don't know if we're going to get Zoom bombed or what, but you know, I think that's a risk we always need to take.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I would not recommend adding the Zoom link. Oh, so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's just that you could get Zoom bombing for sure. I think that could definitely happen.
And so what I've done on a different commission that I support is use the Zoom webinar function, which you can enable the committee members to be panelists, and then everybody else is an attendee, and they need to request to speak so that you can avoid Zoom bombing. And that works out pretty well. And then you can hopefully you can run a series of the same Zoom webinar link and then have that on the page and also have it on the agenda as well.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Sorry, yeah. So with a Zoom webinar, I think that would be a perfect setup for deaf people too, actually.
So it's not accessible, are you saying, or it is?
You need a host who is quite experienced with spotlighting. I think it would be a lot more work for you, Nate, because you really need somebody who's well versed in making a webinar accessible for deaf people, because if there are a lot of people on the screen, it's hard to know who's signing at the same time. So you might need to find a host who's really well versed in managing that. You want to make sure the interpreter is spotlighted for the entire meeting if you're going to record them. So there will be accessibility issues if you do it in a webinar format.
Okay, now I have done, and Bridget's suggestion is good. I've done it. I've started to do it for a separate group that I host, where it's invite only and people make reservations. So I think that's what Bridget's referring to. Is you go on, you click on the link, and it says, you know, it actually has a checkbox for all the upcoming meeting times. You type in your name and you type in your, you know, your email address, and you can then get sent a direct link to the meeting. I have done that. That just means me going into this current link and making a reservation request. I don't think that's difficult about a webinar, is so that people coming in can just, you know, click on the invitation and come in, and then I would add them, and it would also allow me to have just a list of who plans on attend. And we've done that for a group support meeting that we used to hold, where people would send invitations, say they want. It gets a little funky for people. We've had complaints about people saying, you know, the day they want to go to the meeting, they're like, oh, I tried to get to the meeting and I was just sent this registration link. So I don't think a lot of people know that it's registration links. So a lot of people so we have to make it very clear that you need to register so we know ahead of time, and then they'll get sent the link for the meeting. I think it would also be helpful if the members just have a link so they don't have to reserve. The only problem is if, say, I create a link and I reserve myself and I have that link to the meeting and I send that to everybody and they use that link, they're all going to show up as Nate Bazio, because it's under my reservation. So basically what would need to happen is that everybody on the committee would need to, make a reservation and, make that upcoming link and have that put in their calendar, which is okay. It's just whether we want the extra layer of security. I do like that security, and whether or not we get Zoom bombed. I mean, part of me is like, what's the worst that can happen? But the other part of me is like, maybe we should do that. But I do think we need to have, if we're going to advertise how we're going to, advertise our meetings and provide information about meetings, we need to also provide information where people can attend the meetings. And I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way we can get people to participate, right? The only thing we can get more people to come here is give them access to these meetings. Otherwise, it's going to be the same, group of people meeting every time. So, again, I can create a reservation link, or we can create the direct Zoom link. I do like the reservation idea myself, but I'd like to hear people's thoughts.
Yeah, I guess we have to think about the benefit of getting more people to join. I mean, that is a big boom.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step is figuring out how to get in contact with this Facebook administrator and get our information on there, because that's a great link. We could have YouTube recordings on the Facebook page and people can see what we're all about. Our visibility would increase exponentially. So that's my first suggestion, I guess.
And I do get your point, Laura, about, if we offer these up on YouTube, showing the interpreter and items, and I honestly have no idea how that's done. I don't know if we make a recording, if we could just set the interpreter, but then the only thing people see is the interpreter, but they might hear other people participate.
Well, no, it would be spotlighting. I mentioned that before. You would spotlight the interpreter. Or also they say, if people are talking or signing and there's an interpreter, they say, if you're not talking, if you're not signing, keep your video off so that my interpreter is larger on the screen. Because if there's so many people on the screen at the same time, everybody's video is really small.
Well, why don't we do this starting off? I propose we, put up the meeting minutes, put up the agenda, make a reservation link for upcoming meetings for people to see to attend. Let's hold off on putting videos up for now. And if it comes to that, where we're getting more participation and more people are interested in doing it, then might be time to looking into how to do spotlight. I think a lot of this also depends on what the mayor's office and CDU decides about whether we want to add that extra component. But I think just by providing an agenda and the meeting minutes, I think would be really helpful so people can see that, and then just letting people know, and then reaching out to the Facebook administrator to kind of see how we can collaborate about upcoming events related to the Burlington Accessibility Committee and some of those items. So I think that would be the way, but we can hold off on the videos for now, making those public until we want to figure out what to do with that. How does that sound? Okay, so for the immediate future, it looks like I'll be sending the memo. I'll be resending the thing to the mayor's and CDU office, hoping for a response. We're going to provide materials training materials to the CDU folks for upcoming trainings to internal staff. We are going to, I will work on putting together I will create a reservation link for people to access the Zoom meetings. And I'll pass that along. And I can also just message this person who's doing the the Burlington Advisory Committee Facebook page and see if we cannot connect with them to do that. You know, see what can be done to do that. Boom, boom, boom. I think that's it for that. Again, I think we're gonna hamstrung again about what really we could move forward. It'd be nice to try to set up some training for the public or something to get moving with that. But again, I don't know what we're gonna be able to do until we get the go ahead from the mayor's office. So I think that's where we're at. I do want to ask Bridget. I think I think I need to release my grip on thing in terms of getting an agenda and minutes out to people. I think sometimes I get so busy other stuff. I think it would be good if we had CDU just sending that stuff. What would be a timely manner for me if it's about a weekend? So I think the best thing would be me to provide you guys with an agenda and stuff, and then you can pass it along. I think that would be what have you done in other work with that? How has that worked in the past?
Sure. So when we warn things for the public, meaning putting it on the government meetings calendar, we're supposed to do that 2 days in advance. So if you could get an agenda, even like a preliminary agenda, send an email to Ethan or I, we could maybe get it on like a nice PDF, maybe Thursday and then like Friday morning at the latest.
Okay. Well, I know we usually shoot for a week, and what I usually do is I just wait and I send it to all the committee members. But I think the best way to do it would be to send it to you, and then you guys can distribute it so everybody's get it. And I'll actually shoot to do it a little bit earlier. And again, it depends on how other things go with me sometimes, but I will try to be better at that. Okay. So that's all I have right now. That's all I have on my plate. Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss or go through? Yeah. So our next meeting date is, I believe, July 18th. So our next meeting date is established for July 18th. And if nobody has anything to add, I will talk to you then. Thank you. Bye.